What's good, everybody? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Theme Inspector Gadget music. Guys, I want to have a serious conversation. I want to talk to you brothers right now about something that is important, and that is the migrant crisis. Now stop the show. The migrant crisis really might not be something that's important for this channel, but it is important for the topic. And the migrant crisis really affected Chicago, Illinois a lot, especially Mayor Brandon Johnson, who is in his first year of being a mayor, but he's a terrible mayor nonetheless. There's only one mayor worse than him in America, and that person will be discussed on this podcast. Fast forward! So Brandon Johnson's administration received hundreds of millions of dollars for this crisis, if not $1 billion. But there was one problem. They never put out the information on a website such that the news media could understand it. And when they didn't do that, well, as a consequence, this happened.
NBC5 investigates is taking the city of Chicago to court to obtain records related to the migrant crisis.
For months, our team has reported on problems inside migrant shelters here in the city and has exposed how millions in taxpayer dollars were being spent. And tonight, we're trying to understand why certain city records were withheld. Investigative reporter Bennett Haberly joining us now with more. Bennett.
Yeah, Allison, Stephan, public records are vital to our reporting and to the public's right to know. In our quest to understand how the city responded to the migrant crisis, we combed over thousands of pages of reports, and in doing so, realized we may be missing some more. And now we're suing to obtain what should be public information. At its height, Chicago's migrant crisis involved housing as many as 15,000 people, and in some cases meant having them live in crowded buildings. This once vacant warehouse was converted into the city's largest shelter in Pilsen, which at one time housed 2,500 people. Last month, NBC5 Investigates first reported how the city's own records helped identify potential gaps in the city's response to migrants' health needs. These records noted as far back as October, the city was aware that overcrowding individuals at the shelters put both new arrivals and shelter staff at higher risk of contagious illnesses.
That's right, guys. Congratulations, we have something called a big-ass lawsuit. Fast forward! Now, on the case or on the hand of a lawsuit, I want to discuss something else here because it's important. Tiffany Henyard has done an excellent job of hiding information, not only from the general public, but from the Dolton trustees herself. I know you don't believe me. Check it out.
Good evening, residents. Unfortunately, the Dolton trustees had to adjourn this meeting abruptly. And the reason for that is we've been repeatedly asking for information that's been documented time and again about credit card statements. We haven't received credit card statements in 6 months. We haven't gotten the electronic warrant list, but yet we're supposed to vote on it. We haven't gotten factual information about the tax increase. This is a tax increase for the residents, and we're fighting to get information about that with no discussion and no input from the residents. So unfortunately, tonight we had to adjourn the meeting early. We will be hosting a special board meeting tomorrow at 6:30 at Dolton Park District, 14700 Evers. We hope to see you there. Please come with your questions. We look forward to answering everything in a dignified manner. Thank you.
So again, I did a video on Mr. Ben Bradley over at WGN. And WGN has been the first news network in the Chicagoland area that has decided to open up the case on Tiffany Henyard. Unfortunately for them, they were not able to get access to certain records from her, but they are able to do this.
WGN is suing the village of Dolton for refusing to follow open records laws and release spending records. Last year, WGN Investigates sent Dolton an open records request seeking copies of the agency's credit card statements, as well as records relating to Mayor Henyard's compensation in the cost of her taxpayer-funded vehicle. But Dolton has declined to release the documents.
Now, they are filing a lawsuit, as you have heard. Now, what does this mean? WGN is suing Dolton to force them to put these records out there. Why? Because if she puts those records out there, then Tiffany Henyard will probably show and display that the budget in Dolton is probably upwards of $10 million in deficit or more. And this is the reason why she's using the Thornton Township credit card to pay for Dolton things. Because why? Well, because she can't afford it because she's already used the money. She's taking a budget surplus, okay, under the mayorship of Mr. Riley Rogers, who left with the surplus when he was voted out. And now we have this individual who's coming in with a budget deficit of at least, maybe at the most, $10 million. Can't even afford to pay for the police cars. Can't even afford to do all these other things. And then what do you hear from these people? They're starting to say that they have haters. These people are trying to bring them down. There is a way that they want to have a smear campaign. And then you have idiots who believe them. Right? Now, I want to discuss this because this is very important for me and for the channel, that we have other people like this in the black community. Umar Johnson is one of them. Umar Johnson is one of those guys who wants to be able to do whatever he wants to do without any level of accountability from the community. That is Dr. Umar Johnson. Now, you might say that that's not what he does, but it is what he does. Him and several black pastors want to do whatever they want to do with your money, talk down to you about what they're doing with your money, and then have the unmitigated gall to have an attitude with you, to discuss things with you, to be upset that you don't want to support and castigate you for not supporting, even though they don't want to do what they're supposed to do. And what I'm trying to say is that black people in the community need to stick up for themselves. This is your tax money. You've worked for this, all right? And we need to stop being bullied and down talked in the community to support things that are stupid, all right? How you gonna ask somebody to vote for you? You don't, and again, this is the oppression of the black community comes from a lot of blacks. Like, y'all don't want to talk about that. It's so easy to say, don't vote for Trump and don't vote for Republicans. Okay, let's say I'm with you on that. Even though I'm a Republican, I'm a black Republican, right? And I ain't never gonna vote for Democrats. But let me just say I agree with you. Okay, so then is it better if we let, the people in the black community use us? Is that better? Is that something that is more honorable? Well, let's let the people who look like us steal from us. Is that a better situation for you? Is that something that makes you feel any better than what you are? Does it make sense? Let me know. I need to know. Because you are black, you're supposed to actually treat us better. You have a duty to treat us better in the community than other people who are not in the community. Yes, you do. It is your goal. And a lot of these folks forgot about them being public servants. And this is not just this. This is, you got it in New Orleans, Latoya Cantrell, you got Fannie Willis, and they feel like they can do whatever they want to do. I'm going to tell you like my granddaddy told me a long time ago. He said, listen, son, if you're going to live here, there's a few things you're going to do for me. 1, you're going to work. 2, you're going to church. And 3, you're going to school. Now, you don't have to do that. But one thing for sure is you're going to leave here. So that's for certain. You ain't got to do what I'm asking you to do. But one thing is for certain, your ass won't be here. That I can tell you. So the choice is yours. But if you're going to stay here, you're going to work, you're going to go to school. That is as sure as I'm black. And you know what? I had my ass working, going to school, and I was going to church when I wasn't in school. Because I had things I had to do to stay there. What do they got to do to stay here? Oh, buy new weaves, buy new sandals, sit there and be fake rich? What do they got to do to serve the community? You're the one that asked for the vote. You're the one getting paid by the taxpayers. So how come you can't share this information? It's a shame that they got to even go and do this. That's what makes it so sad. Why do the white man got to come and sue Dolton to put your records out there? And then Tiffany Henyard gonna be like, oh, you see, that's the white folks hating on the black and brown community. Girl, if you don't sit your $5 ass down somewhere. If you do not sit your ass down, I'm sorry, I got to just tell the truth. And as blacks, we gotta stop this corruption in our community. Because what about these kids? What about these kids? I don't even have kids. What about them coming up in Dolton? What about them? I see it here every day in Africa, that these kids' future is being stolen from them by these governments. I'm here every day, all around East Africa, all around Africa. I might not tell you where I'm going, but I've seen how these people's future have been stolen from them. And it's sad. And now that I see it happening in Black America, it makes you want to cry. It's ridiculous. Don't let these people that are black politicians steal from your kids. They want the vote. If they don't want it, get them out of there. Don't let them disrespect the work that our people did to get us to where we are now. These people didn't live and die for her to steal every goddamn thing. No, I'm sorry. I gotta tell like it is. They didn't. My granddaddy has been in the march with Dr. King and has done things like that. These people didn't do that to come up with nothing so that we can be where we at now. We're supposed to be better than that. And we have let our black people, leaders, people who should be mopping the floor and not in politics, we put them and elevated them to positions to destroy us. Now we out here looking like the fool. So these other groups can say, I told you they don't know what they're doing. So guys, what do you think it should well? Should they do Jackson? Back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Richard Farley, you just heard the bell. We're out.